Welcome to your deep dive. We're taking a look at the book proposal, Creating with Spirit, that you sent in. This idea of art as like a pathway to healing and self-discovery is really interesting.
It is. What's fascinating to me is how Sabine doesn't just, say that art is good for you. She actually connects creativity to the science behind flow state and healing, and she's drawing on, both personal experiences and research for this.
And her personal story, I mean, wow, it's compelling. She's been through a lot, childhood trauma, the loss of her first husband, and then, her son struggled with addiction, and she lost him to that too.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff. It really highlights how art can be this powerful way to cope. Like it's more than just making pretty pictures, right? It's about tapping into this deeper place, this wellspring of emotion and energy to find resilience.
Sabine actually built a whole career around this. She started the Liverpool Arts Center and she developed these creative rhythms events. But what really caught my eye in the proposal was this concept of the heart compass.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's like she's saying we all have this internal guidance system, right? And it helps us make decisions that are more true to ourselves instead of just like overthinking or getting stuck in what we should do. The heart compass is about like really tuning into our feelings.
Right. It makes you wonder if we've been ignoring our intuition for so long, you know?
Yeah.
Like, have we been prioritizing logic or what other people expect of us over what our gut is telling us? She also talks about this three pillars method to facilitate these creative experiences. And she really emphasizes having a safe space, finding inspiration, and letting go of expectations.
Mm-hmm. That last part, letting go of expectations, that seems so key if we really want to tap into that creating with spirit energy that she talks about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about the journey, not the destination, right?
Right.
The process, not the product. And speaking of process, she really gets into the science of flow state,
Right.
that feeling where you're just completely absorbed in what you're doing and you lose track of time.
It's more than just getting in the zone, though, right? I mean, Sabine actually links flow state to healing and even describes becoming like a conduit for energy during her intuitive art readings.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that a little.
Yeah.
When she's talking about this, creating with spirit and being a conduit for energy, what does she actually mean? Is she saying we're tapping into like a higher power, or is it more about reaching this deeper level of intuition and authenticity in our art?
That's a good question. It seems like she's drawing on both personal experiences and concepts from transpersonal psychology, that field that explores states of consciousness where we feel connected to something bigger than ourselves.
I see. But the proposal isn't just all this theory and like big ideas. She includes a lot of really vivid examples from her own art making and anecdotes from her workshops. Like there's that story about the shy teenager who she basically ended up meditating through painting without even realizing it.
Yeah. Those examples are so powerful because they show that anyone can do this. You don't have to be a professional artist to benefit from, using art for self-care.
Sure.
And she even outlines like a whole workbook with guided activities. She's really emphasizing that anyone can tap into this creative energy.
Absolutely. Have you ever like doodled while you were in a meeting or something? She starts with doodling as a way to loosen up and quiet that inner critic.
Mhm.
It's all about just letting go and allowing that creative energy to flow.
That's actually really interesting. Researchers have actually found that doodling can help us focus and remember information better. It might seem mindless, but it's actually engaging different parts of our brains.
So maybe those doodles aren't just random scribbles after all. Maybe it's our subconscious trying to, communicate with us or something. She also mentioned sound drawing, where like you let the music kind of guide your pen across the page. Have you ever tried anything like that?
I haven't, but it sounds like a great way to, get out of your head and really connect with your senses. It reminds me of automatic writing, where you just let your hand move without thinking about it.
Right. She then moves on to painting. She talks about how for years she got stuck trying to create these perfect paintings, trying to meet everyone else's expectations. And it led to this creative block, total frustration.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's so common, right? We put all this pressure on ourselves to create art that's good or worthy of praise, and that can actually stifle our creativity, instead of helping it.
Totally. She eventually got past that block by just allowing herself to paint freely, without judgment. She even describes like covering her whole studio floor in white paint and just going crazy with colors while listening to loud music.
Wow, that must have been so liberating. It sounds like a way to tap into that raw, uninhibited energy that we often lose touch with as we get older.
Yeah, for sure. It makes you wonder, what would happen if we all just gave ourselves permission to create without judgment, to just play and experiment? Maybe that's the key to like unlocking that creating with spirit potential.
Maybe it is. It definitely challenges that traditional idea of art as something that requires skill and talent. Maybe it's more about tapping into this deeper wellspring of emotion and intuition that we all have.
Makes you wonder, is there some kind of connection between those like transcendent experiences and what neuroscientists are finding out about the brain in flow state?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Some researchers think that that flow state actually helps different parts of the brain talk to each other more efficiently, and that leads to more creativity, better focus, and even improved problem-solving skills.
So maybe creating with spirit isn't just a metaphor, right? Maybe it's reflecting something real that's going on in the brain.
Right, it's really fascinating to think about. Sabine also tells this really powerful story about how she transformed a period of intense grief and darkness into this creative renewal. It happened after her son's first overdose.
You mentioned that she lost her son to addiction, but the proposal doesn't go into a lot of detail about that. It sounds like that creative outpouring was how she dealt with all those really intense emotions.
It seems that way. She talks about feeling lost and disconnected, just totally overwhelmed with worry and fear. Painting became her outlet, her way of moving through the grief and finding some peace again.
It's a good reminder that art isn't always about creating something, beautiful or aesthetically pleasing. Sometimes it's a raw, visceral expression of what's going on inside.
Exactly. And it really speaks to how powerful creative expression can be for healing, especially when we're dealing with crisis or trauma.
She also mentions how we can access flow state through physical creative experiences, like movement and music. I know some people find it's easier to connect with their emotions through movement than through, like, visual art.
That makes sense. Think about how we instinctively move our bodies when we feel certain emotions. Like we dance when we're happy, we stomp our feet when we're mad, we curl up when we're sad. Movement can be this incredibly powerful way to express and release those feelings.
And she highlights how important it is to be mindful, to be present in the moment. That's how we cultivate flow state.
That really aligns with a lot of the research on mindfulness and creativity. When we're fully present, we're less likely to get stuck in self-criticism or worry about the outcome. We're just in the flow, letting the creative energy move through us.
So it's not just about the activity itself, it's about the mindset we bring to it.
Exactly. It's about having that. Sure. So it's all about trusting your intuition, making choices that feel right for your true self. She describes it as this feeling of expansion or contraction in your body, almost as if your heart is guiding you towards or away from certain choices.
So it's not just about logic, it's about listening to those gut feelings and making choices that resonate on a deeper level.
Exactly. And she actually provides a framework for how to use this heart compass. She encourages readers to ask themselves, does this feel expansive or constricting, or does this feel aligned with my values?
It makes you think about all those times you ignored your gut and ended up making choices you regretted. Maybe if we listened to our heart compass more, things would have turned out differently.
That's possible. It's definitely encouraging us to pay more attention to those subtle signals our bodies and emotions are sending us.
She also mentioned the three pillars method for facilitating those creative experiences. Remind me what that is again.
Okay, so the first pillar is all about creating a safe space, both physically and emotionally. It's about building an environment where people feel comfortable expressing themselves without being judged or criticized.
So it's more than just having comfy chairs and good lighting. It's about trust and respect within the group.
Exactly. The second pillar is about finding inspiration. Sabine suggests things like guided visualizations, music, nature walks, and creative prompts.
It sounds like she's encouraging people to draw inspiration from everywhere, both internally and externally. Tap into their own imagination and the world around them.
Right. And then the third pillar, the one we've talked about a lot already, is about letting go of expectations.
It seems like this idea of letting go of expectations is like a thread running through the whole proposal. It's not just a step, it's a whole mindset shift.
It really does seem that way. It really challenges our obsession with achievement and productivity. It's like a reminder that sometimes the best experiences come from just letting go and being present.
Now let's shift gears and talk about some of the benefits that Sabine highlights, for making creative self-care a part of your life.
Well, research has shown that creative expression can really help reduce stress and anxiety. It can also improve your mood and overall well-being, boost your self-esteem, and even help you process trauma and grief.
It's pretty incredible to think that something as simple as picking up a paintbrush or a pen can have such a big impact on our mental and emotional health.
I know. It really emphasizes how important it is to find healthy ways to cope, especially during tough times. Creative expression can be such a powerful tool for dealing with life's challenges and building resilience.
And she emphasizes that you don't have to be like a professional artist to benefit from this. You don't need any prior experience.
Yeah, it's all about the process, not the finished product. It's the act of creating, of engaging with those materials and expressing yourself that really
So
matters.
it's not about talent or skill. It's about the willingness to explore, to experiment, and to let go of that inner critic.
Exactly. It's about giving yourself permission to play, to get messy, to make mistakes, and just enjoy creating without judgment.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. What are some of the tips she offers for incorporating creative self-care into our everyday lives?
Well, she really stresses the importance of setting aside dedicated time for creativity, even if it's just a few minutes each day. Like actually scheduling it into your calendar or setting a reminder can really help make it a priority.
Yeah, it's just like anything else we want to make time for, right? If it's not on the schedule, it's easy to let it slip away.
Exactly. She also suggests creating a dedicated space for your creative activities, even if it's just a little corner of a room. Having that designated space signals to your brain that it's time to be creative, and it helps minimize those distractions.
Almost like a ritual, a routine around your creative practice.
Right. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy, just clearing off a table, dimming the lights, putting on some music, that kind of thing.
She also mentions having supplies readily available, so you don't have to waste time hunting things down when inspiration strikes.
Oh, that's such a good tip. It removes that barrier of having to get ready to create. It makes it so much easier to just dive right in and start exploring.
And trying out different creative prompts and challenges. It's a good way to break out of your comfort zone and like discover new ways of expressing yourself.
Yeah, that's great for preventing creative ruts. Keeps things fresh and exciting.
And joining a creative community or taking a class can provide that support and accountability.
Absolutely. A supportive community is incredibly motivating and inspiring. It helps you stay committed to your creative practice even when you're feeling discouraged.
And she stresses the importance of celebrating those creative wins, no matter how big or small they are.
That's so important. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism and focus on what we haven't done. But acknowledging and celebrating our successes is so important too. Give ourselves credit for the effort and the progress.
Okay, let's dive into some of those inspiring stories she shares. There's one about a woman named Sarah who came to one of Sabine's workshops, and she was dealing with a lot of grief and loss. She had recently lost her husband.
It sounds like Sarah didn't really see herself as artistic, but she was drawn to using creative expression to process her emotions.
And it seems like the experience really had a profound impact on her. She talked about entering this meditative state while she was painting, feeling like she was floating on a cloud.
Wow. It's such a beautiful example of how creative expression can facilitate these deep states of relaxation and connection, even for people who don't consider themselves artists.
And she realized that through her art, she could honor her husband's memory. It gave her a new sense of meaning and purpose.
It really shows how transformative creativity can be, not just for processing difficult emotions, but for finding meaning and purpose, even in the face of loss.
She shares a lot of stories like that, showing how art can be a powerful tool for healing, growth, and transformation.
And what's really striking is how she weaves in these personal stories with insights from research. It creates a compelling narrative that speaks to both our hearts and our minds.
Like she mentions research from the Journal of the American Art Therapy Association. They found that art therapy can actually reduce anxiety and depression in cancer patients. Pretty amazing.
It really is, and there's more and more evidence coming out that supports these therapeutic benefits. There was a study published in PLOS, one that found that creative writing can improve mood and reduce stress in people with chronic pain.
And Frontiers in Psychology had a study that showed that music therapy can actually improve cognitive function and reduce agitation in people with dementia.
It's becoming clear that creative expression is so much more than just a hobby. It's a powerful tool for improving our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being.
She argues that creativity isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for our well-being, and we all have the potential to tap into its healing power.
That's a powerful message. It really challenges the way we often put productivity and achievement above self-care and creativity.
Let's talk about Sabine herself for a minute. She's incredibly open about her own journey, how creative expression has been a source of strength for her throughout her life. She grew up in a really chaotic and unpredictable home.
It sounds like art gave her a sense of peace and escape from a tough home life, a way to express her emotions and find some sense of calm amidst the chaos.
And she's faced some incredibly difficult things as an adult, too. The loss of her first husband and her son's struggles with addiction.
It's remarkable how she's taken those experiences and used them to fuel her work and to help other people find healing and transformation through art.
It makes what she's saying so much more authentic and relatable. She's not just talking about these concepts, she's lived them.
Exactly. It gives her a level of credibility and authority that you wouldn't get from just reading research or other people's stories.
Her teaching methods are pretty unique, too. She emphasizes the process over perfection, intuition over technique, and self-expression over external validation.
That's such a refreshing approach, especially in a culture that's so focused on achievement and perfectionism.
It's about creating that safe, supportive space where people feel okay exploring their creativity without judgment.
And that really speaks to the importance of bringing a sense of playfulness and curiosity to the creative process.
She uses a variety of techniques to help people connect with their creativity. Things like guided visualizations, music, movement, and nature-based activities.
It's like she's engaging all the senses, a more holistic approach to creativity.
Okay, let's get into some of the specific activities and exercises she lays out in the proposal.
She offers a wide range, catering to different interests and skill levels. Some of the things she suggests are doodling, painting, sculpting, collage, journaling, creative writing, music making, movement, and meditation.
Wow, that's quite a list. It shows how creativity can take so many forms. It's not limited to visual art. It's about finding any activity that helps you express yourself and connect with your creative energy.
And she encourages readers to try different things to find what really clicks for them.
She provides clear, concise instructions for each activity, too. So it's easy for people to get started.
That's so helpful. Sometimes the hardest part is just taking that first step. Having clear instructions makes the whole process less intimidating.
And she emphasizes that it's not about doing things perfectly. It's about approaching them with a sense of playfulness, curiosity, and self-compassion.
It's about letting go of those expectations, embracing the process, and just enjoying the act of creating without judgment.
It sounds like she's really trying to help people break free from those limiting beliefs we often have about our own creative abilities.
Absolutely. It's like she's encouraging people to reconnect with their inner child, to find that sense of wonder and curiosity that we often lose as adults.
She goes beyond just the activities themselves and talks about her vision for the book. She sees creating with spirit as more than just a book. She sees it as like a lifeline, a beacon of hope for people who are looking for healing and transformation.
That's an ambitious vision, but it speaks to how much she believes in the power of creativity. She wants to inspire people to embrace their creativity, to tap into its healing power and make it accessible to everyone.
She sees it as a practical guide, filled with inspiring stories, actionable tips, and exercises. Not just theory, but something people can actually use to transform their lives.
It's a powerful concept to create something that not only inspires, but also empowers readers to make real changes in their lives.
Okay, what are some of the potential benefits she outlines for readers?
She mentions a number of them, including increased self-awareness, reduced stress and anxiety, improved mood and well-being, enhanced creativity and self-expression, better problem-solving skills, greater resilience, and a sense of connection and belonging.
That's a lot. It covers so much ground, from personal growth to interpersonal relationships, from emotional well-being to cognitive skills.
It really does. It speaks to how multifaceted creativity is and how much it impacts our lives. It's not just about art, it's about well-being, resilience, and connecting with ourselves and others in a deeper way.
She truly believes this book can empower people to live more fulfilling, meaningful, and creative lives.
It's an inspiring vision. It highlights how creative expression can be a force for positive change, not just for individuals, but for society as a whole.
She also dives into her background and expertise, shares her journey as an artist, facilitator, and teacher with over 30 years of experience.
The fact that she founded and runs the Liverpool Art Center really speaks to her dedication to building creative communities and making art accessible to everyone.
It's not just theoretical for her. She's created a real-world space for people to explore their creativity, connect with others, and experience art's transformative power.
You can tell she's not just talking about these concepts, she's lived them.
She's also a popular speaker and presenter, and her work's been featured in tons of publications and media outlets.
That really speaks to her credibility and the impact her work has had. She's not just someone with an idea, she's someone who's making a real difference.
Okay, let's look at some specific examples of her work that showcase her expertise.
Sure. So she's created and facilitated a wide range of workshops and programs. Things like meditative painting, which combines guided meditation with intuitive painting, and creative rhythms that uses drumming, music, and movement to create a sense of community and flow.
I like how she incorporates so many different approaches, from meditation to music to movement.
It shows how well she understands the interconnectedness of creativity and all the different ways people can tap into and express their creative energy.
And of course, there's Creating with Spirit, the program that inspired her book.
Right. It explores that link between creative expression, flow state, and healing. It encourages people to trust their intuition and create art that's both meaningful and transformative.
She's even developed a training program for facilitators who want to learn her methods for teaching creative expression. It's all about empowering others to share the benefits of creative self-care with their communities.
It shows how committed she is to spreading her message and making these practices more widely available.
She's not afraid to compare Creating with Spirit to other books in the field. She acknowledges that there are a lot of great resources out there, but she thinks her book offers something unique.
Yeah, she emphasizes her focus on intuition and flow state, the way she blends personal experience with research, and her accessible and practical writing style.
She wants to create a resource that's not just informative, but also inspiring and easy to understand. A book that people can pick up and immediately start using to improve their lives.
It's all about meeting people where they are and giving them the tools they need to start their own creative journey. It seems like she understands how important it is to connect with her audience where they are, whether that's online, at events, or through collaborations.
Who is her target audience specifically?
She identifies several groups, including people seeking personal growth and self-discovery, those dealing with stress, anxiety, or depression, people recovering from trauma or grief, those struggling with addiction, artists and creatives, and therapists and other helping professionals.
That's a pretty broad audience.
It is, but it makes sense when you consider how wide-ranging the benefits of creative expression are. It can be so valuable for anyone looking to improve their well-being, cope with challenges, or simply explore their creative side.
Okay, how does she establish her credibility in the book? How does she convince publishers and readers that she's the right person to write this book?
She uses several strategies. She shares her personal story, emphasizing her own journey of healing and transformation through creative expression. She highlights her extensive experience as an artist, facilitator, teacher, and founder of the Liverpool Art Center. She backs up her claims with research and evidence-based practices, and she includes testimonials from workshop participants and endorsements from experts.
It's a well-rounded approach. She blends personal experience, professional achievements, and research.
It creates a really convincing story that establishes her as both an expert and a relatable guide.
What about her writing style? How would you describe it?
I'd say it's warm, compassionate, and engaging. She uses vivid imagery and storytelling to bring her message to life, making it accessible to a wide audience.
She's not just throwing dry facts and figures at you. She's creating an experience for the reader, inviting them to connect with her and embark on their own creative journey. She gives readers concrete tools and strategies they can actually use.
And she doesn't shy away from potential challenges and roadblocks. She offers encouragement and support to help readers overcome those obstacles.
It's a well-rounded approach, acknowledging the realities of the creative process, like self-doubt, frustration, and creative blocks are real, and she addresses that.
And by doing that, she empowers readers to navigate those challenges and build a more sustainable creative practice.
She weaves in personal stories, research findings, and practical tips
It's
throughout.
well balanced. It speaks to both the head and the heart, offering intellectual stimulation and emotional resonance.
And the clear headings and subheadings make it easy to follow and absorb the information.
Effectively gets her message across and builds anticipation for the book.
Now let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture. What kind of impact could this book have on people's lives? What's the ultimate goal?
Well, she believes that creating with spirit can unlock readers' creative potential, help them connect with themselves on a deeper level, reduce stress and anxiety, improve their mood and well-being, offer healing and support, and ultimately lead to more fulfilling lives.
That's an ambitious goal, but it really highlights the incredible impact that creative expression can have on our lives.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that creativity is not just a fun extra. It's a fundamental human need that's essential for our well-being and for living a full life.
Okay, as we're wrapping up this part of the deep dive, what are some questions we could think about further?
How has creative expression touched your life? What are your go-to creative outlets? What challenges have you faced in your own creative journey?
How do you find that flow state in your own creative practice? How do you tap into your intuition through creative expression? And how can you make creative self-care a regular part of your life?
These questions really encourage us to connect our own experiences with what Sabine is presenting, making the whole discussion much more meaningful.
Now, let's explore how Sabine actually guides readers through this process of creative self-discovery. She starts by emphasizing self-compassion.
Right, she recognizes that self-criticism and judgment can be huge roadblocks to creative expression. She stresses the importance of being kind and understanding to ourselves, just like we would be to a good friend.
It's about quieting that inner critic that says we're not good enough, not talented enough, not creative enough.
Exactly. She gives techniques for practicing self-compassion, like noticing negative self-talk, challenging those thoughts, and replacing them with positive affirmations.
So it's about changing that internal dialogue from judgment and criticism to encouragement and support.
And she encourages us to focus on our strengths and achievements, to celebrate our wins, even the small ones.
It's about acknowledging and appreciating our own unique gifts and talents instead of comparing ourselves to others or striving for some impossible standard of perfection.
And she reminds us to be kind to ourselves, especially when we mess up or face setbacks.
It's about recognizing that we're all human, we're all learning, and we're all doing the best we can.
Next, she encourages readers to embrace the power of play in their creative practice.
Play is often seen as something silly or childish, but she argues that it's a vital part of creativity.
Absolutely. When we approach creativity with a sense of playfulness and curiosity, it opens up new possibilities and lets our imaginations run wild.
She encourages readers to tap back into that sense of play, like let go of expectations, embrace silliness, explore new materials and techniques, create without a plan, and connect with their inner child.
It's about approaching creativity with lightness and joy, not taking ourselves too seriously.
So the focus shifts from the outcome to the experience of exploration and discovery.
Exactly. It's about being open to surprises and following creative impulses wherever they lead.
She also provides guidance on how to set intentions for your creative practice.
Yeah, intentions can be really powerful. They help focus our creative energy and align our pursuits with our values and goals.
So it's about having a purpose and direction for your creative endeavors, not just creating randomly.
Right. She encourages readers to think about their desired outcomes, to clarify their values, set specific goals, visualize their success, and even write down their intentions.
It's a much more thoughtful approach to creativity rather than just letting our impulses run wild.
It's about taking control of your creative energy and directing it towards a specific goal.
She also highlights the importance of having a dedicated space for creativity.
Having that special spot just for creative work signals to our brains that it's time to be creative. It helps us stay focused and inspired.
It's like creating a sanctuary for creativity, a place to escape the demands of daily life and really get lost in the process.
Exactly. She suggests choosing a spot that's comfortable and inviting, personalizing it with things that inspire you, minimizing distractions, making sure there's good lighting and ventilation, and keeping the space tidy.
It's all about creating an environment that nurtures your creativity.
And it really doesn't have to be anything fancy or over the top.
It could be a small corner of a room, a desk in a quiet place, even a comfortable chair on a porch.
The key is that it feels like a space where you can relax, let go, and let your creativity flow.
Okay, let's talk about choosing the right tools and materials.
The right tools and materials can make such a difference. They can really enhance the creative experience and make the whole process more enjoyable.
So it's not just about using whatever you have lying around. It's about being intentional and choosing things that inspire you and support your creative vision.
Exactly. She encourages readers to experiment and figure out what speaks to them.
It's about finding what works for you and your creative process, not following someone else's rules.
She suggests starting with basic supplies, trying out different mediums, considering the different qualities of each material, and investing in higher quality things as you go.
So gradually building your creative toolkit and finding the tools and materials that really suit your needs and preferences.
And she emphasizes that there is no right or wrong way to choose these things.
It's a personal choice. The important thing is that they feel comfortable and inspiring to you.
She also addresses the fear of failure, which is a common obstacle for a lot of people.
I know, fear of failure can be so paralyzing. It can hold us back from trying new things, taking risks, and expressing ourselves authentically.
Absolutely. She encourages readers to see failure as a learning opportunity, to focus on the process more than the end product, to allow themselves to play and make mistakes, and to celebrate their efforts even if they don't get the perfect outcome.
It's about changing our perspective on failure, seeing it as a normal part of the creative journey instead of something to be afraid of.
By being open to experimentation and letting go of perfectionism, we can tap into our creative potential and find the joy in creating without judgment.
Now, let's talk about discovering your unique creative voice.
She really believes everyone has a unique creative voice, a distinctive way of expressing themselves through their art. It's about connecting with that inner voice and letting it flow freely.
That's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
It suggests that each of us has something unique to offer the world through our creativity.
She encourages readers to explore their interests and passions, try different mediums and techniques, pay attention to what brings them joy, trust their intuition, and let go of comparing themselves to others.
It's about trusting your heart, your instincts, and expressing yourself authentically, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. It's about embracing your individuality and letting your unique creative voice shine.
Okay, now let's talk about mindfulness in creative practice.
Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judging yourself. It's about being fully present in your body, your mind, and your environment.
It's about cultivating awareness and presence, instead of getting caught up in thoughts or worries about the past or future.
Right. And she believes mindfulness can really enhance our creative practice in a few ways.
It can make us more aware of our senses, helping us to really notice and appreciate the details around us.
It can also help us let go of distractions, quiet that mental chatter, and really focus on what we're doing.
And it can help reduce stress and anxiety, which frees up our creative energy and allows us to create more freely and joyfully.
She encourages readers to incorporate mindfulness into their creative routines. Things like paying attention to your breath, noticing your senses, letting go of distractions, and practicing gratitude.
It's about bringing awareness, presence, and gratitude to the creative process. It deepens our connection to our creativity.
She also encourages connecting with your emotions through creative expression.
Emotions can be such a powerful source of inspiration for our art. They can give it so much depth and meaning and help us to process and understand our own experiences.
Definitely. She encourages readers to create a safe space for emotional expression. Choose mediums that resonate with their emotions, let their emotions guide their choices, use art as a way to process those emotions, and share their art with others if they feel comfortable doing so.
It's about being vulnerable, expressing our true selves, and using art to explore and process our emotional world.
She also talks about cultivating patience and persistence in the creative process.
Yet creative breakthroughs don't usually happen overnight. Developing a creative practice and achieving goals takes time, effort, and a lot of patience.
She encourages readers to set realistic expectations, make creativity a regular habit, celebrate the small wins, learn from setbacks, and surround themselves with supportive people.
It's about embracing the journey and not just focusing on the destination.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process, knowing that with consistent effort and a willingness to learn and grow, you can reach your creative goals.
She also touches on the importance of vulnerability in creative expression.
A lot of people see vulnerability as a weakness, but in the context of creativity, it can be a source of strength and authenticity.
When we let ourselves be vulnerable in our art, it allows for deeper self-expression and connection with others.
She encourages readers to create from the heart, let go of the need for approval, share their art if they're comfortable, and embrace imperfection.
It's about taking off those masks, letting go of our defenses, and letting ourselves be seen and heard, even with our imperfections. Yes.
Gratitude is such a powerful emotion. It can boost our well-being and inspire our creativity. When we appreciate our creative gifts, we're more likely to use them, nurture them, and share them.
It's about recognizing and appreciating the gift of creativity instead of taking it for granted.
She encourages readers to take time to appreciate their creative abilities, to be grateful for the chance to create, and to use their creative gifts to make a positive impact.
It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, from what we're striving for to what we already possess.
It's about recognizing that we are all creative beings and that our creativity is a precious gift to cherish and share.
Now back to the practical side of things. She talks about the challenge of finding time for creativity in our busy lives.
I know, it's a common struggle. So many people have trouble finding time for creative things with all the demands of work, family, and other commitments. She offers some really practical tips for making creativity a priority, even when you're short on time.
So it's not about needing hours of free time. It's about finding ways to weave creativity into our daily lives.
Exactly. She suggests actually scheduling creative time in your calendar, breaking down bigger projects into smaller chunks, finding creative outlets that fit into your routine, using your commute or downtime to brainstorm, carrying a sketchbook or journal, and turning off distractions to really maximize that creative time you do have.
It's about making a conscious effort, being proactive about creating that space for creativity.
And she emphasizes that having a supportive creative community can make a world of difference.
Oh, yeah, having people who understand and encourage your creative side can be huge.
Definitely. It gives you a sense of belonging, accountability, and inspiration all in one.
She suggests some things like joining a local art group or taking a workshop, maybe taking an online course, going to art events, connecting with creative people on social media, or even starting your own group.
Right. It's all about finding those people who really get your creative passion and can support you. Use it as a way to process emotions and, most importantly, let go of judgment.
Give yourself permission to just play, experiment, make mistakes, and enjoy the process without pressure or self-criticism.
Exactly. And she also acknowledges that for some people, creative expression can actually become another source of pressure, especially in a culture that's so focused on achievement.
Oh yeah, it's easy to get caught up in wanting to be good at something, comparing yourself to others, and feeling like you're not good enough.
Right, and she cautions against that. She reminds us that creativity should be a source of joy, not stress.
I love that. So release the need for external validation. Focus on the journey, set realistic goals, and celebrate every win.
And she talks about how she wants creating with spirit to, inspire a movement.
That's a big goal, but I can see how much she believes in the power of creativity.
She imagines a world where creativity is valued and celebrated, where everyone feels empowered to express themselves authentically and use creativity for healing and transformation.
And she hopes this book will be a catalyst, inspiring readers to prioritize creative self-care, embrace their own potential, and share their gifts with the world.
It's a call to action, for sure, and an invitation to reclaim our creativity and use it for good. This deep dive is just the beginning. The magic truly happens when you pick up that brush, pen, or whatever calls to you and let your spirit create.